Welcome everyone to the Daily Outburst Talk Show. We got some good things going on tonight. First, I want to introduce everyone to our listeners to, first of all, we have Gemini all the way from Atlanta. Let's give her a round of applause right now. And then we have Ginger. She's my, big sis or little sis? How is Ginger?
I don't know. I just turned a hot 40, so I'm not sure. I think I'm the
Little
little
sis.
sister.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. That's my, my little sis, Ginger Cote. Woo! All right, guys. So tomorrow, tomorrow's election. Election day for a lot of people. I think all over the country. Okay. There's a stipulation that's going on right now with black voters. There's the problem is there's not a lot of black voters that's coming out. Not even for, and I read the statistics today on the news that even in South Florida the turnout is poor with the black voters, with the early voting. If you could vote by mail and so forth, the turnout is still poor. And I want to know, even if our listeners have some type of objective and so forth, I want to know from you guys, how can, or what's going on? First of all, I want to start with Ginger. First of all, what's going on with our black people and voting?
I mean, my personal opinion, or just the opinion period, is that voting is essential. I don't think I wouldn't say people because I don't like using that word, but just voting, people have to understand what voting does. Not, you don't vote because it's a trend, or you don't vote because this person has a cool video. You have to actually know what's in your community, what's going on, what's taking place, what needs to be changed. You have to be involved in the community to know who and what to vote for. Also understand your laws, understand your rights as a human being. Go as far as educating yourself about our Constitution, about what true democracy is, so that you would know the importance of voting and how serious voting is. And one of the things that I just recently read was, if you're not going to vote, then I don't want to hear your complaint, which is the truth, because a lot of people that choose not to vote because it's a choice, they're the biggest complainers. However, you can't complain if you're not using your voice that you were given to vote. Voting is very, very, very important. And there are so many different votes, not just for the president of the United States. You have to vote for so many different things. So my I'm absolute on, you have to vote.
Oh yeah, especially locally, because everything right now, it's about the local election, about our senate, our governor, and so forth like that in each state. And this is very important because a lot of people are complaining, oh, DeSantis, this and that, but yet they're not coming out to make that change. Okay,
Right.
your vote counts. Period. All right, Gemini, what do you got to say about this?
So I feel that there's a lot of things historically and also just in truth that I've actually been discovering and studying on and reading lots of literature on about the process of the United States of America Corporation. I feel like a lot of us, we innately know that this is a company parading as a country. And some of us, we really don't know that. So half of us are seeking the truth on how to live in sovereignty. And the other half are trying to figure out how to live in the matrix and the illusion of the United States of America. Personally, I have never voted. And I'm the half and half who's been like, okay, I know there's more than this. And the things that I've been researching and looking up, I feel that voting is important once you know who you are and you know how to stand and play this game of that the United States of America is playing, because our social security number is a tax ID. Your birth certificate says you're an entity. So there's also certain things as far as being black and being things like that, that the dictionary words that we know are not the words they play by. The things that we think we know, they don't look at us as individuals. They look at us as imbecile because they realize we don't know who we don't know our birthright, and we willingly give it away every day. So I get when people say our vote doesn't count, but I also get when I know how to make it, but you have to stand on your square. You have to know who you are. You have to be able to use the system to your benefit. But if you don't know who you are, you're just a pawn in this game of chess that they're playing. So I feel like voting is important, but it comes from a stance of power, not of poverty, where we're hoping someone's going to do something for us. Everything's already been done. We just don't.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I believe what I believe is we need, as far as I wouldn't say, I'm not even going to put race. Excuse me, I'm not even going to put race in the issue right now. But we need people that care about the community. Everything right now is about the community. There's communities in every state, every county that there's poverty, and every 2 years, every 3 years, every 4 years, you have these politicians that come on and say, "Hey, I'm going to do this for you. Please accept my vote. Vote for me. I'm going to do this for you. Vote for me." And nothing has been done. Here's a perfect example. There's that was running a couple of years ago. Sheila Sheffield. Her campaign was she's going to promise in Miramar. She's going to promise, I believe, $1,000. She's going to give $1,000 to every citizen in the Miramar area, $1,000 per month. She was trying to do that. So that was her game plan. Okay, that was about 3-4 years ago. Okay, she's been elected. Nothing has done yet. Nothing. Nobody has seen a red cent as far as, okay, this income that's supposedly becoming the government's not going to give money like that. Mm-hmm. If they're going to give $1,000 to a county, they might as well give $1,000 to every county in the United States. And that's why I think that it went wrong. And I did vote for her. I didn't vote for her because of me, but I voted for her because of, number one, my kids, and my, future kids and so forth. Hey, they can handle that money, or they can take care of that money. They can do something with that money if you can do it. So that's why I voted. I didn't really care about the situation, but number one, she was African American. Number two, she was saying something good. So yeah, I did vote for her, and then now I'm looking like, wow, I made a big mistake because nothing has happened yet. She's a good woman now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad, but that that ploy of giving, because everyone loves money. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. Everyone wants money. So if a politician comes to you and say, "Hey, vote for me, I promise you I'm going to give you $1,000, $2,000 a month because you live in this particular area, vote for me," everyone's going to do it, right? So they did. She got elected. Nothing has happened yet. So I'm going to piggyback on you, Gemini. You're right. There's certain things that needs to be done. I understand why you don't vote because of your whatever the case, your beliefs and so forth. I understand that because there's a lot of people that still believe that. But still, if we can find an elected official that can help the community, that can promise certain things, and I'm not saying everything can be done overnight because it can't, because you have to go through these stipulations, these other votings and so forth to get stuff done. But if you're going to promise us that you're going to try every single day in office to make things better for the community that you want to represent, by all means, I will vote for you. You see, but just don't come out here and say, hey, vote for me because I'm going to do this. No, I want to see proof. I want to see what you can call it. I want to research you. I want to see proof that you actually have done stuff before on a smaller level, and now you want to do stuff on a bigger level. So, but voting is very, very important because you have the choice to make a difference.
Right.
You have the choice to make a difference.
To piggyback off that, Winchell, you make a great point, and what I'm hearing you say is that this particular individual, and we're not going to make it about that individual because, of course, it's a whole, it's a major problem. But one of the biggest things from my perspective is accountability. Because like you said, this person promised money or whatever it may have been, they made that promise. But my question to you and would be to the citizens of that particular community is accountability. Who has held that person accountable? You went out and you did a vote based on something that someone promised you. You have to have some form of integrity as well. And like you stated, you have to know what that person has really done, what's factual, what's true, what is evident, that this person could say anything. I could say anything. I could say the sky is purple. And if I paint a beautiful picture, you will truly believe within time that the sky can possibly be purple. However, through the fruits of my labor is what is going to be evidence. That's what I'm going to leave behind. So I say that to say, these communities, if you feel that you have been done wrong, you have the right to hold that person accountable based on what they told the community that they will do and that they can do. And I think that's where there's a lapse or a gray area, quote unquote, because there's no accountability. Because you can go on and we can complain all day. We can say what this person hasn't done, what they're not bringing to the table, what we don't like, but who's actually showing up and forcing that individual or individuals? Because remember, one person cannot run anything. They need a team. So are we holding them accountable? Or are we idolizing the one individual based on what they promised and we're not showing up and doing our part as a community? Because remember, a community is a commonality of people, places, and things. That's what community means. So as a community, are we holding what the elected officials said? Are we holding them accountable? And I don't think we do that.
Yeah,
But we prefer, once again, goes back to we prefer to complain because complaining is easy. But showing up and actually speaking up and holding someone accountable based on the promises that they've made, that's what we lack. And once again, that's my perspective.
Right.
I agree. I definitely see it as an inside job. Because one thing that I've learned is like whatever goes on inside is happening outside. And I feel like as a community, we don't hold each other responsible, nor even ourselves. So it's like a foreign concept to think I'm going to hold that person accountable when I allow everybody to make promises to me and not deliver. I make promises to myself and don't deliver. So I can't even really fathom holding someone accountable. I feel like the issue starts inside. Because we can do all the voting or we can not vote. We can pick the best person and they can give us all the money. But if we haven't been taught about wealth, it's going to be squandered. If we don't have personal accountability, at the end of the day, nothing's really going to stand. And the Bible says a promise is a comfort to a fool. So if we got these people putting on talent shows saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and we not verifying and vetting them like you saying, Ginger,
Absolutely.
we are being foolish. We're asking to be fooled. We're being pimped.
I love the way that you said the talent shows.
Yep. Right. We literally being promised money. You got money being swung in front of your face like a carrot on a stick, and we just running for it. Once we solidify ourselves as sovereign people and we really learn the rules to this game, nobody can sway us with money because we really playing Monopoly. If you think about it, money is gold and silver coins. So they waving this green dollar that they're typing a value into a computer for that doesn't actually exist when each of us are actually allotted to at least $1 million through the United States Treasury. But that's information that needs to be researched so we can collectively as a community, those people we voting for, they're just using our money. They're just utilizing our money.
Either for their pockets or their family pockets, actually. You're absolutely right, Gemini, because I've seen it, I've heard it. People, these politicians are taking wonderful 2-3 week vacation with their family, and who's paying for it? The taxpayers.
Yes,
we're paying for it. The little tax that's coming out for the city and state tax goes straight to their pocket, or their friends, business acquaintances, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff has to, like you said, we have to come together some way, somehow, because the power of many, they will be scared. Okay? They will be intimidated. And I don't want them to be intimidated. I just want them to know, hey, enough is enough. This needs to be done for my community. Okay? These roads, look at these roads. There's potholes everywhere. You go to another community and predominantly other color, their roads are smooth as hell, palm trees on both sides, irrigation, water irrigation. They got the works. But what we have, liquor stores and burnt up, messed up roads. So something has to change. And if we can collectively, I mean, one by one, and I'm not saying, hey, we can try to get 10,000 people by tomorrow, but if we can collectively, in time, even for the major election, the president's election, presidency election, hey, in time, we can go to our politicians like, hey, this needs to be done. It's time. It's time. And actually, and I'm hoping I can, with some other people, I can see if we can try to hold these people accountable for a lot of things. Because I see it. I see it every day. I see the gentrification going on. I see the money being slipped under the rug to these politicians, and they're not doing anything for us. And it has to stop. And I'm tired of these comical politicians that get on TV and want to disrespect the other candidate for no reason. This is what I hate. I hate these politicians disrespecting these other candidates. For what? For what? You're a bully. You're a bully now. To me, that's what you are. You know, so if we can come together and fight to these to our local electors, hey, let's try something. Hey, I can start tomorrow try to write to Sheila because she's still in office right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can say, hey, where's the money? If not the money, there is some type of improvement in Miramar. Because Miramar is, I think, what? Miramar is predominantly 80% or 90% black. And all we need is a couple of hundred people just to stand in front of the office and say, hey, we want change.
Right.
You know?
But make sure when that is being done, you do it like you said in decency and in order, because you have a way that you can get things done, and then you have a way also that you portray yourself just a way in a negative manner that is going to, the message will be missed
Mm-hmm.
if that's understood. So it goes back to making sure that you're educated enough and that you have educated your people, so when you do propose a an issue, you already have a resolution for it, like conflict resolution. When you bring something up, don't just bring that up and bearing empty handed. When you bring up a topic that you need to be changed or you want some change, also bring resolutions and bring a few, a few methods, or bring some type of methodology so that they will see your viewpoint and bring a honest perspective based on facts, not opinions. That's just my
Yes.
thing, coming from, like you said, Gemini, a business, standpoint. Everything is a business. Everything is about revenue, and
Mhm.
and have to keep in mind that everyone has different ways of thinking. Because like you said, my thought process is that, like I said, I truly believe in voting. I do believe that there are people who are real leaders that really truly believe in change in the community and that have done a lot in the community.
Yeah.
And it's evident that we see some that just have not. And we have to know the fine line, but we won't know that unless we educate ourselves based on facts.
Right.
Because like you said, the dog and pony show, a lot of people base their vote off the dog and pony show. They didn't go and do the research themselves. They didn't take the time to do, read and find facts and truth. They're just going by what the next person stated.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I wish, one of the things that I do wish is for these politicians, elected officials, to actually, instead of before the election, okay, you see them everywhere, shaking hands, kissing babies, and so forth. I need that same energy after you get elected. Because,
Absolutely.
sometimes you don't see them at all anymore.
Absolutely.
6 months from now, who did you vote for? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, where is he now? Yeah, I don't see him anymore. I don't see him at any games like he used to.
Right.
I don't see him in any parades like he used to. I don't see him in any mall shaking hands like he used to. No, that same energy needs to remain throughout your throughout your time in office.
Yeah, throughout your tenure. And
Yeah,
that's going to come with us as a community holding them accountable 100%.
that's right.
Because
Absolutely.
like you said, if we don't see them, they don't see us. And I'm gonna say that again. If we don't see them, they don't see us, which means that nothing's going to happen. It's going to be a continued what disappointment, just a
Yeah.
continuous process of emptiness. Because if they don't see us, we don't see them. What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
No hands are being shaken. No hands are. Nothing's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing plus nothing leads to nothing. I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
And if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Absolutely. If no voice is being heard, there's no ears to hear. So
Yeah.
there's never going to be anything that's going to happen.
Right. So yeah, in light of what you said a couple minutes ago, Jennifer, about providing the people with solutions, also, I feel that when I talk about being sovereign beings, a lot of times we haven't really heard about the fact that we're not citizens. We're national. Being a citizen means being pretty much you're a stake in a company. You're a part of a company. You're an entity under an umbrella company. But being a national, you go back to the laws of the land where cops aren't pulling you over. So basically, as a citizen, we're voting for the president of the company versus like the president of the states that happen to be united. We're voting for the president of the United States Incorporated. So if we are acting as citizens, then yes, these things are, I mean, they're important in a way because the people who I know who go through the nationality process of correcting their birth certificate, correcting their social security number status, and things like that, to be recognized as nationals, you get put on the do not detain list. Your vote actually really, like, you know exactly what to vote for. And only
Really?
certain things concern you because you know other things are company politics.
See, I
So it's
just
like,
learned something new. That's a beautiful part
right?
about,
So
education.
there's a website called I Self Am Law and Math. That's what Islam means. I Self Am Law and Math.com. And they have scholarships if you can't, like, if people can't afford it, or if you can't afford it, you pay because they put in a lot of work to show our people we are sovereign beings. We do not need to depend on those folks. And that's the reason why most of us are finding lots of this word going around, narcissistic and toxic relationships, because it really is between ourselves and the lack of accountability for knowledge of self. Once we know who we are, we realize the game we're playing, we're not even playing our proper position. We're not staying on our square. So that's what I mean when I say I can vote all day, but if I'm not voting in the right columns that actually affect me as just a nationalist, if I'm a citizen, I can get pulled over and get arrested. I can get detained off the plane. They can block my passport and things like that. But once you correct that national, you actually have clout. That's how a lot of the Indian reservations and things like that, they have more clout because they have a correct status. We as so-called Black people do not have a correct status. So that's why when somebody gets unfortunately gunned down, they look at us as Black, meaning in legal terminology, Black means a dead entity. So there's a lot of stuff we don't really know functioning outside of normal. So I feel like correct the issue. They have no but to be held. But if we don't hold ourselves accountable to our own power, then we are ultimately being powerless. The pyramid has flipped to where we, the people, are empowered, to where we are in this perception that the government is over us somehow when they were placed to serve us. But if we don't know who we are, it's like a king walking around in the village, serving people, like people throwing stuff at them. Like if you're a queen and you're not on your own, you don't know anything about the crown, you're not going to speak from a place of dignity and clarity where you're making declarations. We're going to go around begging people and letting them make promises and hoping they fulfill. But I feel personally that time is done. This is the time when we choose to educate ourselves, or we continue to deal with the consequences of people doing whatever they want to us, because ultimately we are allowing it if we continue to remain uneducated about our true sovereignty. So that website, iSelf Law and Member, I'm not affiliated with that at all, but they're a site that I'm going through to assist me with correcting my status, especially for my daughter. I gave birth at home. I'm not going to a hospital. If we look at hospitals, they're heavily tied in with politics and the medicine game, aka drugs. There's a lot of things that they want, especially from us melanated people. They want our body parts. They say it openly. But when we act like we don't know that they're against us, like Riza Islam said, the enemy is always planning. Why aren't we planning? We're taking promises from the enemy, expecting them to deliver. They've never delivered, but we keep looking at them. So at what point do we figure out how to shift and say, okay, if I had to take full accountability for this, and not, at what point do we figure out how to shift and say, okay, if I had to take full accountability for this, and not, at what point do we figure out how to shift and say, okay, it's everything.
Hold on a minute.
At what point do we figure out how to shift and say, okay, if I had to take
Yo, it's up and bad. Hold on. Yo, it's up and bad. Hold on. Yo, it's up and bad.
Gemini, I think that message cracked it.
Yo, it's up and bad.
Gemini, I think that message cracked it.
Yo, it's up and bad.
Gemini, I think that message cracked it.
Oh my God.